Bonnie and Jerry are not here.
Okay.
I can use.
That'd probably be a good idea. They can always unmute when we actually get rolling.
Yep.
So Normal Heights Planning Group envisions a healthy, vibrant community that honors unceded Kumeyaay land and cares for all inhabitants. We prioritize inclusive and equitable land use, valuing people over commodification through pedestrian-friendly infrastructure, transit-oriented development, open space preservation, and affordable housing. We strive for a vibrant and sustainable neighborhood. Additionally, we promote responsible economic development that supports historic preservation, local businesses, fosters job opportunities, and enhances the overall economic vitality of Normal Heights. A bit of administration up front. Items on the agenda may be addressed out of order. We encourage you to put your name in the chat. The chat and the proceedings are recorded. The recording will be posted on the web later. We don't monitor the chat for input, so if anyone that's on Zoom would like to speak, please raise your hand, either by waving at the screen or using the raise hand option that's available in Zoom. It would be nice if you entered your name in our chat, and if you would like to be on our mailing list, enter your email as well, and you'll be getting the agenda via email prior to the meeting. I usually send them out the day before. At this time, we'll do a quick round of introductions of the board members. Alan, go and pick a theme.
Alan Hardwood, board member. Me.
Sure. Last time we did ice cream.
Okay. How about favorite pizza topping?
All right. And yours? Sausage.
Scott Kessler and Xavier Duke, representing the theme for what?
What's your favorite pizza topping?
Oh,
Oh, daring move.
Yeah.
I'm Sammy Burrows. I am the secretary now, and my favorite pizza topping.
Jay Koopman, board member, and Olives.
Timber Ross, board member, The Works.
Works. Okay. Paul Coogan, I'm the chair, and I like the vegetarian pizza in general.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we have a guest. Parker is keeping us on track. Timekeeper, yes. Oh, plain cheese, right on.
Stone, barbecue chicken pizza.
Francis Bridget resident. Like a mixture, not the chicken noodle, but like most of those.
All right.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what your name was. Francis Bridget.
Francis.
Hi, good evening, Emily Polo, and I'll go pepperoni. I'm surprised I don't pick that one.
Okay. Names are also on the screen here. Next up is non-agenda public comment, and I believe we do have some people that wanted to speak. And I will stop sharing so that those on Zoom can see the room. Anyone for public comment? Yes.
My name is Connie Wilker with the Adams CRG, and I represent the Warden Canyon Wagon. It's a dog group. Advocating for more and off-beach areas, and I'm very interested in finding out whatever update you have on what trends in the city have agreed to do with that piece of 40th Street that's up for grabs at the moment. It was supposed to come to Warden Canyon, and now it's near, and I was keeping an eye on those two things, and I'm now advocating for the community garden to be installed sooner than later in Warden Canyon.
Thank you for your support. Yes. And please step up a little bit so the folks on Zoom can hear you as well.
Jeremy Dawson Richardson, similar reason for being here, but I don't live next door. The house was just rebuilt after 3 years ago. But we've been living in Normal Heights for 21 years. Been on that block for 15, and it has been a changing area for Caltrans for the entire year of the house. The noise, I started taking notes for when they would show up at 5:30 a.m. on the weekday. Their huge trucks up and drop things and tons of noise. On the weekend, they come to 6:30 in the morning to do there's no place pollution in the area. We don't get to use our water as often as we would like, just because it's just so dusty and dirty out there and no paving. Just health and safety of all the debris in the air. So I'm advocating for a decision to be made. I thought that was put to bed a while ago, actually years ago. Back when you first bought the house, they decided we were doing their money. And then we got money and now we're up in the area and but as somebody who lives there and has to sort of bear the brunt of all of the noise and dust, in addition to people who live in the area, would advocate for that to go where it was initially envisioned to go.
All right, are you asking the board for any action?
I would like a decision. I don't know what's holding up the decision, why the decision been pulled off the table. So I don't know what the action the request is, other than the decision being made. So we have some clarity. We need to take ultimate legal action because of how much of this serves our lives. We can do that, but we won't do that after the decision going to the park or the division to develop.
Okay, I think Jim has some information because he's on the Parks Committee or actually Parks and Rec Board.
Usually during these public comment things, we don't get into decision-making or interaction, but I had some quick information and a question.
Yeah.
The general development plan for that park space and the paved area is to get rid of the paved area and make it park space. We're not sure whether it's going to be dog park, community garden, or what, but it's not going to be a staging area for Caltrans anymore. When I say anymore, that means within my lifetime. But I have a
And
quick
much like
question.
we have a long and happy life, that could be a lot of additional years.
A quick question to you though, since you're the owner and resident of the property adjacent. When we first put in the dog park, it was a problem.
Yep.
And we moved the dog park. There's some talk of using that space as a temporary or interim community garden space. That wouldn't be a problem for you unless people were growing dogs.
Yeah. Community garden is great. In fact, that's what we initially heard was going to be happening.
Great, that's all I had to have.
Okay. Yes, Scott.
I just wanted to pile on and state for the record that government moves slow and that some of us have been waiting for the mock building to be torn down since the late 80s. So it's been 40 years since the city's on that structure at the corner. We've been told it will be in the next year. I'll believe it when I see it, but it's unfortunate that government moves slow, but good luck. And this group, no matter what we say, is not going to help. I'm sorry to say.
Yes,
I'm sorry, maybe I don't understand. Is this a discussion item or is this a public comment period?
this is a public comment period, but
Limited to 2 minutes.
yes. And I believe our 2 minutes are up, but thank you. Did you have anything else you'd like to say? Or it's point of order?
Jim, was there a point of order?
I think so. Okay, Sarah?
We have it on an email thread to meet with Parks and Rec for the community garden, but right now because of budget season, they told us, so that's the latest update.
When are the budgets finalized?
You know what? Sure, but it's still,
I mean, we could expect the people to start becoming available around June.
I assume, but I can. Do
Okay, because a lot of my inquiries have been, I'm busy doing budgets. Yeah, okay. Yes,
Actually, I do have a public comment. Could we get the floor cleaned in here?
I'll,
Comment, thank you.
sure, I'll pass the word to the rec center. Okay, let's go back to our agenda. This is an extra slide it added at the last minute because Alan had some good news for the community about the new monument that's been installed at the corner of El Cajon and I-15. I recall this being a discussion point at my first meeting here, which must have been at least 2 years ago. Now, do you have any history on this?
I really don't. If I remember right, Gary Weber talked about it. And it was something that Alcohol Boulevard Business Improvement Association might have been working on.
Okay.
They did the four corners. Our corner has Randall Heights, and then Corridor has a corner, and Kensington, and there's another one. I can't remember that one. Maybe City Heights.
City Heights, okay.
It's one of the sub neighborhoods.
Interesting. It's our four corners, kind of like Colorado.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Some good news. I want to go over our agenda and minutes cycle. This was our cadence is not really readily known to people. The work that we do on the backside. I mean, we publish the minutes, we publish the agenda, we hang the agenda on the door, but there is a cycle to this. And what I have outlined on the screen is the two columns regarding the agenda and minutes. So I'll be creating an agenda usually about a week or two before the meeting. I'll send it out to the board to give a second opinion, last looks. Once that period is over, in silence is consent. I send I send it to the city and some high-level subscribers like our Tony Atkins' office and so on, so that they have sort of a heads up that that's happening. And then usually it's Scott, because he's here at the community center, we'll post it on the door. That's an important moment because that is our Brown Act compliance. I will then post the agenda on our website, and usually I'll see it echoed out on social media by friends of mine, so thank you for them. And then I'll send out a newsletter a day, sometimes two, before the meeting, just to remind people that have subscribed that the meeting is happening. And this round, based on suggestions at our last meeting, I'm including the full agenda on that email rather than just giving highlights. So I don't actually post it on social media. I have some friends that take care of that for me. I then print the agenda, and they're over by the door there. And then we have meeting day. And after the meeting, I will upload the Zoom recording onto the website so that there's sort of a rough minutes or a record of the meeting as soon as possible, rather than having the public have to wait for a full cycle for the minutes to be approved in the following meeting. Meantime, the secretary records those minutes in the meeting and then sends the current minutes to the board for approval or for to be able to see them. Let's see. I'm sorry. Now I'm getting confused. Meeting day. On the meeting day, we will approve the meeting minutes for the previous meeting, and then once those approved minutes are available, they're sent to the city and posted on the website. Are there any questions about that process? Yes.
Who told you that that complies with the Brown Act, assuming that I haven't read it?
That would be Natalie Kelly, our planning department representative, and also Marlon Pangolin, who's a project manager in DSD and is or project manager within the planning department.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if they will.
I can get you their contact information if you need.
I've got Marlon's.
Okay.
Would that
Yeah.
be enough?
Yes. And if he knows otherwise, have him let us know. Next up is a presentation by Luis Espinoza of Espinoza and Company Architects for PRJ 1113452. Is a residence to be at Benton Place. And at this point, I'll stop sharing. And Luis, I will make you a co-host so you can share.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, let me start by sharing my screen. Hello, everybody. Thanks all for joining today. And today I will be presenting our home, me and my wife's home. I'm actually the architect and I'll be the future inhabitant of the house. And the house will be located on a one of the only empty lots or one of the few empty lots on Benton Place. Actually, you might have all seen the plan that Paul sent out uh, a few weeks
Yeah,
ago. But
I have a
oh, go
copy
ahead.
on paper here in the room, and I'll pass those around the room. And the projection is a little small here, so you may want to zoom into features that you want to highlight.
Okay, sounds good. So I guess what I can do is I can speak the technical stuff, sizes, location, and then I can fly you through a 3D model so you can fully understand the design, and then I can answer any questions that people might have in the room. So we are proposing.
Yeah, I think you'll need to be a little bit louder.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, is this better?
Yeah, and I'll turn the volume up at this end too.
Okay, 1 second. Let me get rid of some adjustments here in my screen. And okay, can you guys hear me okay?
That's much better. Thank you.
Okay.
I think you're soft again.
Okay.
Test.
Can you guys hear me? Is this better?
There we go. Perfect.
Thank you. Sorry, everybody. I'm actually in Rome, and it's 3 in the morning here, and the internet connection is very spotty. So I apologize.
Thanks for the
But
warning.
yeah, so I might drop, hopefully not, but I'll try to do this quick. So basically, we are proposing a 1,680 square feet residence, single family residence, 1 story, and then two 520 ADUs on top of the canyon here, as you can see there. The plot is currently empty. I don't think there's ever been any construction on the site, and it is adjacent to uh, two more empty vacant lots to the left if you're looking straight on to the west, to the east, sorry. And then there is a neighboring residence, which is 5175 Benton Place, and the Caroline here on the audience, which is gonna be my neighbor. So basically, this is a tree structure that we're proposing. I spoke about two. The one in the middle here is the main residence, 1 story. The one next to the street here that I'm pointing at is the single building that hosts two ADUs, one on top of the other one. And there'll be a storage detached office next to the bottom of the canyon, or not next to the bottom, but adjacent to the house. So the project is a two-phase project. First phase encompasses only the residence and the parking spaces next to the street, as you can see here on the picture below that I'm pointing at. And phase two will be the two remaining structures in gray. Here's a picture of the topography. We have done a lot of surveys. We did a geotechnical study. We did a biological, environmentally, um, a biological study too, to make sure that we're not endangering any species there, that we're protecting any types of animals, plants, anything that could be on site. Here is a more detailed diagram of how the phases are gonna play out, where again, the house and the parking pad towards the top of the slope will be the first phase. And then everything in gray, it's second phase, which might come at a few years later after the residence is completed. We have the floor plans, which is what Paul has right there. And then I'm just gonna quickly fly through the elevations. Now, I want to share with you a few images of the project because I think this will kind of explain more of the design that we're trying to achieve there. So basically, we have done a lot of, we have studied this canyon quite a bit before purchasing it, and now after purchasing it, we really love the engagement that people has towards the canyon as it is. There's a couple benches here that people just stops by to watch other birds, people on runs with dogs. We love how people takes care of the canyon and looks out and see all the nature that is there. And then we wanted to preserve that quality of the canyon. We noticed that around the city, Parks and Rec and some other city jurisdictions have the bad habit of removing trees uh, just out of basically just because they want to. So what we don't wanted to do in this canyon was to disturb it. So with that in mind, we try to create our house with the idea that we wanted the house just to be an inhabitant of the canyon instead of coming in and taking over and being the main point of sight that people will see. So in a way, we're trying to make this house similar, like think about a nest, a bird nest, where the bird comes in and puts the nest on the tree instead of just trying to cut the branches and then damaging the tree itself. So we like to think of the house as a little nest that comes in and sets into the canyon and it just lives there. Now, from here, you can see the two phases of the project. What you're mostly seeing is the second phase ADUs because the house is sort of set down into the canyon. So what you see now is what phase one will be here. There will be only the parking surface, and then the house will set below to not block people's view from anywhere where you pass. The roof, it's gonna be ballasted with the same color as the bird that is on the canyon. So that really blends with everything. And then this will be phase two, which will be a smaller structure that'll come in closer to the street, but also have that permeability of view towards the canyon there. And this is the phase two, looking out into the canyon. Now, what I want to share also with you guys is our 3D model here. We have been just kind of modeling neighboring houses just for scale to show you basically we're not trying to do something out of the scale that is currently on the neighborhood. We're trying to match again the scale that we have around with our ADU, but at the same time have that permeability through the project so that the house feels like a bird's nest down there. And you can see here, we're trying to keep the benches that are currently just on the sidewalk where they actually get quite a bit of views there. People come in, sit there, watch the birds, and just sits there to take a breather while they're hiking. So this is basically what the two phases complete will look like. For foundations for the main house, we chose concrete case and piers there in order to try to avoid grading as much as possible. So we're doing similar, think about a bridge or a concrete pier in the beach. So we're not doing any grading. We're doing some cutting, but it's very minimal But again, this idea of the house being like a bird nest, where you don't touch the tree where you live in, but you thrive with it, it's the main guiding factor that led us to design the house there. The idea to make the roof flat on the house is not to block people's view on phase one, but then the ADU, you might notice that we have a gable roof there. That is, so we blend a little bit with the character of the neighborhood around. Parking spaces, we are providing 3 off-site parking spaces and then 1 off-site parking space in front of the ADU, totaling 4 parking spaces. Number of trees, we might have to take down a few branches or 1 eucalyptus tree, which is non-native, adjacent to the house and adjacent to our neighbor's house. We'll have to see if there's a need to take down that tree once we get the survey to start construction to see if the actual branches won't damage the house, but everything else will remain as is. I believe the tree in this animation is not shown. It's around here. I think our neighbor planted it. That tree will have to be relocated next to the ADU if that end up being on the way of the cars. But we're gonna try to save that and just move it slightly to the left on the screen in order to preserve that tree. Material wise, what we have chose is, as you all know, we are on a higher fire severity zone. So we have chose to do concrete foundation, everything on the bottom of the house. It's concrete, it's non-flammable, non-combustible, and the house will be covered with stucco in its entirety. There will be no eaves or no any other projections, which kind of prevents from the passage of fire through any other structures around. Same thing with ADU. And I want to finish this up just by kind of flying over the house, the ADU, so you can have a better context of what we are planning to do. They're both small structures, as you can see here, and their placement is strategically located to not disturb the canyon as much as possible, as we said before. Now,
Mr. Chair, motion to approve the project where we do.
I don't believe we have, we don't have an action item on this. This is information. Yeah.
Right, and that is it. So I open the floor for any questions you might have for me.
Okay, thank you. Excellent presentation, and thanks for working through your bandwidth there. It rendered fairly well. I think we should start with questions from the board, and then we'll move to the audience. So I think, Scott, go
I
ahead.
just want to say, it seems like an amazing project, and congratulations.
Jim?
Looks like a great project. Welcome to the neighborhood. There is a significant amount of noise from the freeway. I hope you're taking into consideration of that and maybe double painting your windows on the canyon side.
Yes, we are. As I mentioned, we've done many different types of surveys, and noise is one of them. So all of our windows will be double pane, which is kind of already compliant with California code. So we are considering that. Yes. Thanks for your comment.
Francis?
Thanks for your presentation, for answering so many questions. I have about 3 questions, if that's okay. So you said you thought you maybe only have to take down 1 tree, possibly. Okay.
I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to hear you. Can you be a little bit louder? Sorry.
Oh, did you say that you thought you might only have to take down 1 tree?
Correct. Yes, or a few branches of the tree. Yes.
Okay.
Hopefully the tree
What-
can stay and we can just cut the branches that might endanger the home.
Right. What will be the finished height of the ADU? How tall will the ADU be finished?
So if you measure from the grade level to the reach of the ADU, that's about 12.5 feet. And the reason it's a little bit higher than my neighbor house, Caroline, but there is about 8 feet lower into the ground, into the canyon. So you will not perceive that height. The only height that you'll see is those 12 feet from grade up.
Sorry, are you talking about from the street, like the street level, the top is 12 feet?
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
12'6".
Okay, you've answered so many questions. The final question is what, I noticed that in the description, the ADUs are supposed to be affordable. What do you anticipate the rent for the ADUs might end up being?
So only one of the ADU is affordable. So we are not taking any city help. We're doing everything by the municipal code. So we're not taking advantage of the 1+ ADU. So only one of them will be affordable. And the rent, we haven't determined that yet because that will be a phase 2. But will most likely be 70% rent as specified on the municipal code.
I'm glad you thought about fire, just a final comment. I don't know if you know, but a lot of people in that neighborhood are losing their homeowners insurance. So it's good that you've been so thoughtful about the fire risk. Because people are losing their insurance. It's great.
Okay.
Anyway,
No,
thank
yeah, I did not know that, but thanks for your comment. Yeah, I'll look further into that.
people. Thank you.
Emily?
Hi, thanks for the presentation. Beautiful home. I wanted to ask about the biology study. What type of habitat was found, and do you have to do any mitigation?
We don't have to do any mitigation. The place or the site, the exact site where we're planning to do the residence and the ADU, it was noted as disturbed. There's mostly fill, and even with our remediation, there's only a few coastal sage trees that might have to be removed. But other than that, we did not find any endangered species, either for plants or any type of animals.
Okay, great. Yeah, I didn't realize it was all already in a disturbed area, so that's excellent. I just wanted to ask what stage of the city's review cycle are you in? How many plan checks have you gone through already?
So this is the first review cycle. We are expected to get comments in the next few weeks. So, yep.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Yes. Hi, Louise. Did you purchase the lot next to you as well?
No. So I only own that lot that we're doing the project on.
Okay. I thought it was a great presentation too, but just some minor red flags are going off in my head. You started the presentation by saying you want to be non-intrusive, like a bird's nest, how they wouldn't break a branch. And they said this was going to fit seamlessly into the canyon. And then when you showed the house being built, you're saying, well, we're probably going to have to cut this branch or maybe remove a tree. And so I thought we were at one tree. I'm thinking, okay, and now you say you're going to possibly have to cut down 3 more trees. So I noticed your rendering say like you put the first phase and you say, look, we didn't obstruct the canyon view. Then 3 years later, the ADU comes, it is obstructed, and you show views from the side where they can see on the bench. So that's why I asked if you own the property next to it, because the next person who comes in and builds a home might not be so mindful as you're trying to be, and now then there is no view, there are no benches.
Right. So we're only cutting one tree or branches of it. That's it. We are gonna be relocating a very small tree that it currently lives on the sidewalk, just to open up the space for the driveway. But that's it. So in reality, hopefully no trees will have to die. And it's unfortunate, but we cannot control what happens on the lot next to us. So we're just doing whatever we can to remain sustainable on the project that we're currently working on.
And if you do have to cut anything down, will you replant? Will you plant something else in its place?
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted, Louise.
Tree he's gonna have to cut down is an enormous eucalyptus, it's about to fall on my.
Okay.
I think you're still muted there. Okay.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Seems like says that I was being muted. Sorry. So yes, we are actually planning to plant 3 fruit trees on the property once phase 2 is done. I failed to show where that will happen, but if I might share my screen again, that I can show you where that will happen. So there's currently no trees in the, or there's actually one tree here. That is, we're trying to keep this guy there. So it's kind of guiding us where the parking spaces are, and there'll be 2 trees next to it. We're yet to determine what they're gonna be, but they're gonna be non-invasive and compliant with the municipal code as well.
All right, thank you.
I think we'll go to the public and yes.
All of you, I live next door, I'm going to be his neighbor, my husband Richard and I. And we are just sort of, we think it looks like a great thing. It'll be right next to us, we're otherwise we're going to hear all the construction noise and everything going on. But the tree he's talking about is enormous, bending towards our house, it falls in the ground and breaks its whole house. Besides that huge tree, the only other one he's talking about, Peter and I, we planted a years ago, I'll talk around the one. And there's one I've been watering for 3 years. And have to move because we need it to get where it's parking.
Okay.
So we're just delighted in all this.
Excellent.
Excellent. Yes.
I'm Pete Stafford. I'm the property to the north. In Folsom. And I've lived there, I'll be 82 in 2 months. Lived there almost all my life. This is not going to interfere with the trees that are in the canyon, both the plan, lemonade berry, standard shrubs. None of this development is going to bother that. And we're totally in favor. If I own the property, I'd be building something like this. I describe it as a Tiburon style house. Anybody who knows Sausalito, Tiburon, you know, they drive on your road and then your house is below. And what he's doing makes all the sense in the world. If, you know,
I noticed you both looking at me when you spoke. My concern isn't with taking the trees down. Minor concern is with the way the information is presented. He presents it and says, we're not gonna cut any trees down, we're not gonna block any view. Then we see the view is blocked by the ADU and we're cutting trees down. So I'm just trying to clarify. I've never been on that lot or seen the lot either.
yeah,
That's all.
I realize that.
I'm just questioning the way
Because
it's
if
presented.
you know the lots, you know that they can't screw it up. They're gonna enhance the planting life. It's the ugly part of the canyon.
That's one other small point. I lived there 7 years, 7 years, twice. People have come down from LA or somewhere else and taken stolen cars and something. Valley Canyon, one house taking the other. Like.
Do we have any other public comments? I would make a motion that the board write a letter of support for the project because everything I'm hearing has been completely favorable. And that this might be an exemplary project of the kind that we need in Normal Heights.
I would say we trust but verify and at least give us some time to all review. This is the first I've ever heard of it. Is it the
Okay.
first we've ever heard of it?
Just to push back on that a little bit, we've had the plan set for weeks, so I would feel comfortable, like I've reviewed the plans, we've had them for a while.
This is just the first time I've heard about the project, that's all.
Are you making a motion?
I'm making a motion that the board do a letter of support.
I will second it.
Okay. Discussion?
I just don't have enough information.
Okay.
It's only been 20 minutes.
Yes, we could. I don't. Sure. I don't think there's any urgency to this. Okay, then I'll modify my motion to table this to the next meeting.
For vote.
Yeah, let's table this for the next meeting to vote on authoring the letter of support. Great, good. Thank you, Luis. That was an excellent presentation.
Yeah, thank you all. I appreciate it and look forward to be the new inhabitant of Normal Heights.
Yeah, yeah. We hope to have you here in person at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm back next week, so I'll probably be there on the next presentation meeting for any
Okay.
question.
Well, then, what did it say? Buena notte?
I think so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go into the next.
Oh, I have a question. So he doesn't have to come before us. He's gonna be.
No.
Out of right. Okay.
He's compliant within municipal code, so it becomes ministerial.
Paul, is it an SVP? Make it different.
You got me. Could you?
Yeah, discretionary, just to clarify for the room, so discretionary project is when someone at the city has to make a decision, if it's typically if it's a project, like if you're building a single family home in your single family lot, that's ministerial and you move on, which this should be. However, when you have a permit that's on a canyon, just automatically, if you're on any sort of slope, sensitive habitat, it just goes through a little bit more review with the city and you just have a staff level person making that. So that's the only distinction. It's still single family home, still complies, but the city just likes to take a little bit more time at their decision. And even if you're not touching the canyon, if the property even has a canyon at all, you have to do it.
Okay. Good. Next up is the general plan refresh, which the city has titled the Blueprint SD. If you'll give me a minute, I'll see if I can get these.
Paul, we noticed, we failed to approve the minutes. I don't know, maybe while you're getting that set up, if you want to take care of that.
Yeah, why don't we take care of that while I'm pulling up the document? So, motion to approve the minutes last meeting. And there's a second, okay? All in favor? Are there any, I looked unanimous.
Sure, just the next thing was going to be the treasurer's report, so just
Okay,
to report that it's exactly what it was. $832.30.
okay, so the Blueprint SD is a general plan refresh. It's not the complete redo of the general plan. They're making some small changes, but at this point, it is really about doing the analysis to make recommendations. So they're looking at the climate action plan and the environmental impact report. So they're working on putting those together for feeding into a general plan update. These are the elements that'll be covered, which is the, I think for for Normal Heights, we're really interested in, recreation, in relation to the parks, historic preservation. I think economic prosperity is also, a good thing for us as well. The last time they did the analysis, they used a map that is sort of block by block here. And let me just see if I can get this a little bit larger. So last time when they did the analysis of where the most need is, they used sort of a general block or tract map. This time they did a heat map. I'm not really in favor of the heat map because it makes things a little bit blurry. It's hard to tell where need is specifically. So that was one of the that was a point that was brought up at the CPC. So they're still looking at job centers, destinations, how does the traffic flow in order to determine where need is, especially for mobility, because we're no longer sort of downtown centric, where our North County tends to have more of the, the biotech. So that tends to be, people are gravitating there rather than going downtown. So some of the transit paths have changed, especially since the pandemic. Okay, so again, this is in relation to having housing near jobs, having transit connections. The renderings always look like some other country or some other science fiction thing. So this will feed into their environmental impact, which includes looking at income levels and need, not just trees. It's going to feed into their guiding principles for creating this plan update. So everything right now is a little bit nebulous as they work through this. But if you have any ideas to get involved, there's when I get to the last slide, you'll see ways to get involved with this. Again, looking at development along transit corridors, great idea. Another one of these pictures of an extremely wide street, which we don't have in Normal Heights. And then there's these studies will also feed into the community plan updates. Let's see. So the environmental impact report is a planning document. It is not a policy document or an implementation or a how-to. So again, it's at a very high level. But if you're going to steer a ship, you want to make those decisions early on. So let's see. Some minor updates, some map updates. This one was interesting because they're changing how the need is rated. They used to have this sort of language of very low, 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 medium, medium, high, like it was a 1950s furnace. So now they've got it in 3 solid tiers of low, medium, and high. And then within those tiers, they're breaking it down into 4 sections. That's kind of, I think it's much more clear, but how that's implemented, we'll have to see. Mobility. There is talk of putting a rapid 11 on Adams Avenue during commute times. So that may happen in the next couple of years. Vision Zero is of interest to us. We've had a number of accidents and fatalities in the area, both on Adams Avenue and along Mountain View Drive. This slide was of particular interest to me because they're looking at curb management for shared use. Our streets are pretty crowded, and there's some techniques to try to share the space, because once you get parking in a bus stop and a bike lane and a pedestrian path and through traffic and a bus through traffic, pretty soon you're out of lanes. So there is some science behind this. I'm hoping that they'll be able to apply it without having to actually widen the street. There was a question at the CPC about the charging stations and when they would start having Tesla adapters on them. I thought this was interesting, of having pedestrian-oriented design to break up the super blocks, and we've been seeing super blocks being built recently. We're seeing that there was one in Hillcrest where there's actually a street closed off, and an apartment complex was put in bridging the actual street. Some of the other buildings that we've seen go up are they don't have any angle planes, and they tend to crowd out the street. Industrial flex doesn't really apply to us. Canyons and habitat are important, and then there's also a water reclamation project for using for recycling existing water sources. This is the timeline here. So currently, recommendations from CPG, CPC, and Parks and Rec. So this is a good opportunity for us to start thinking about giving them input, and they having some meetings are scheduled. Let's see if they put those in there. Yeah, okay. So this is the email address for any questions regarding the Blueprint SD.
That's going to be posted online somewhere too.
Yes, I will make sure that this PDF is on our website. Oh, sure. Here we go. Okay. Let's go back to any questions? I don't think I have a lot of answers. I think you probably have more answers than I do.
No, you did a great job.
Okay, because I'm swimming in this, right? Okay, next up is goal setting.
Yeah. So we got an opportunity to meet as a smaller committee of board members and community members to talk through for this. It was our initial go at it. I'm looking at how them want to share in more detail. So and they were some of the members to share what they had in the week and answer any questions.
Okay.
So we came up, most of them are obvious things that the group is already addressing, but we did condense it into 5 primary goals that focus on land use. So those 5 categories, put it up there. Improvement of infrastructure, public safety, enhancement of public spaces, community engagement and outreach, and financing/fundraising.
Excellent.
So as far as improvement of infrastructure, we came up with repaving key streets, sidewalk repair, addressing unpaved alleys, utility undergrounding, and general responsible growth as the city is growing.
Okay.
For public safety, the 2 main concerns were speed reduction and pedestrian safety. Enhancement of public spaces, we talked about community gardens, the mock building, and tree coverage. And for community engagement and outreach, we would like to start focusing on new member engagement and filling the remainder of the several seats that are left. And for financing and fundraising, we wrote things like technology or PR initiatives. So technology is in making those general elections accessible online somehow in the future, at whatever, and stuff like that. And financing, fundraising could help us reach the community better.
Yeah, I think we're, all those, thank you, Jake, all those are the ones we've been focusing on. Obviously, some has continued work that's been done by members here over the last time I've been here, and I know well before me, so kind of continuing that focus. We felt that those were important, and then, I think our area we're wanting to focus on is really like get some more new blood, like continue to get new blood in attending this meeting, new people, making sure we're reaching out effectively in different ways. So brainstorming ways to do that. It's a little intimidating, but I think we've got to really get people to think through ways to do that.
Okay. And when we say new members, we're looking at all you.
We're looking out there, we're looking out of the wall, behind the walls.
We're looking in the Zoom here. All right, I think, next steps, just formalizing that.
Yeah, I think, well, we can put it, if anyone has any thoughts, like, please come up to us. If there's something that, we forgot to include, I think the categories are pretty general, but, we're working to get specifics. And we probably will ask another time for a committee to work on how do we get the word out, effectively, like come up with a possible mailer or do some stop by, or just think of ways we haven't tried to get.
Okay. How about if we, on our next meeting, we'll take the formalized list and then create the subcommittees.
Okay.
So the committees will be aligned to goals.
Yeah.
And that'll be our new cycle. Okay, great.
It's just the public safety one. I really like the speed reduction in executive safety, but I often bike one here, bike through. And median is great, the east bikeway, we're safe, we're comfortable. It's been kind of last year. This year, did you consider including bicycle safety on the public safety goals? But your time.
Okay. Thank you for mentioning it.
Yeah. Excellent. So the next item is reviews of committees and memberships, and we'll table that for our next meeting so we can align that with the goals. Excellent. Okay, next up is reports and updates, cities, county, state government agencies. Sarah. That's great, whatever.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah. I'm from Kansas County. I just have a few updates. So in terms of Ward Canyon Park, as I mentioned before, I don't have an update on the community garden. We're still waiting on the but the vacant building, that one is being monitored. It's secured, properly boarded up. There's no graffiti or trash around the building, and they do plan on tearing down that building in early summer of 2022. Yes.
That's it here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of graffiti and a lot of that.
Oh, okay.
Reported almost every week.
It is being monitored regularly, but if you still see graffiti, please let me know. I'll put out my contact information and so we can get back to you. But yeah, the Parks Department is always there and
I just want, regarding the park, we still have dead trees in the park from the former maintenance workers talking, and we have 3 right here in 35th and Adams, one is our main accent tree, the 2 trees on 35th are all together in the parkway, so it's great. Also the palm trees along the Wood Canyon along the freeway have been planted for 3 years. The Delta, they're on the list, but they just never get done. I already trimmed city palm trees on Lansdowne School Street, if they don't do it, and take care of their parkway. By the way, the parkway surrounding, 35th Street has leaves about 3 feet long. And the park hasn't been weeded in a couple of months, so. The maintenance level for the park, park place is really the work on the whole area.
All right, thanks for letting me know. I'll definitely look into it again with the Parks Department and see if they have
Putting
any.
the trees, replacing the trees, if they're maintenance workers, will by top of those would be the end, and maybe everything the week.
Yes, definitely.
Make sure.
Any other questions on the plan? Your time. But. And half of it is mainly wages. I reported it and it's steep there.
What time do we, I think?
I'm just preheating the oven right now, so it's maybe 5 more minutes, I can start the meal.
Oh, okay,
And I think it takes 15 minutes. 7:30, is that okay?
yeah. And then, if we're done, because it's kind of hard to hear. Just gonna go.
And I can elevate to the top. Is that already, I have to do it first time.
I just want to point something out, like the business association takes care of 453,000 items. Nancy just contacted our office last week, reported that it's 3 grand from a deck land in front of our. The bus pulling into the curb and the ramp going down, and the date it's reported, we went out and.
Yeah, I noticed it.
Yeah, so the turnaround for city staff was just,
I agree.
yeah, I'm
I
just
do
excited, it's not your fault, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm frustrated, but I just gotta do something.
No, I understand there have been a lot of things you have to get it done at. But it's always more effective when you contact the representative, so that would be me. So once they elevate it to the appropriate department, that way sometimes you can make it done quicker. It really just depends on the department, the staffing, the resources, but I really encourage you all to just let me know if there's an issue, so hopefully it gets done faster. Yeah, and they got numbers. You can see like pallets. Building over there. But I'm gonna try to. Where did you say that? As you're coming, that's straight, and it's a narrow. North or something, so when you come around to the. Around the corner, over the side, there's a. So I'll go ahead and look into such of the area maybe, and then I'll look into. So I get 2 things I want to address here. To go on the theme of the trees. In my immediate neighborhood, 5 trees have been cut down in the last 16% of the year. None of them have been replaced. And I happen to know that the article from the reader, I think it's probably thanks to the business association, but apparently a bunch of pear trees were taken out of Kensington and they were replaced the very next day. So I just, there's a little disconnect here between what I just want to know is there any plan to replace any street trees in, in Norman Heights? Because we just are losing them in the Franklin Center, and the streets are very bare. We have no tree cover. Very little. So that's one comment. The second comment is about street paving. Again, is something we talk about every single time. And I'm sorry to make comparisons, but we were in Kensington recently. Half of Kensington has been repaved. Beautiful
you know, the streets are beautiful and they're already. Whereas there are streets in Normal Heights, that's not gonna be only Boulevard Bangle. They've been waiting 20 years to be paved. West Mountain View is almost not private. And I don't go. That's, I feel like I'm in, you know, some other country. So I just, those are the two things. I think Normal Heights is not getting any attention on these issues. And I, you know, I'm really frustrated.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. So actually, the my next update is about removing. So you've probably heard of the city implementing it. So we don't have the funds to replace streets. And there is the pavement.
It's Kensington.
How about Kensington? It's just a prioritization.
But who prioritizes? How did they get prioritized? Why don't you, let us know? Since you don't really have Normal Heights, I think we could open it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it covered by own block each, okay, so don't tell me that every few days.
Point of order, let's get this back on track and Francis has the floor right now. Thank
Oh,
you.
no, I'm listening.
Yeah, so there is a pavement assessment management plan, and that usually is pretty much, they do studies on streets and the road severe and maintenance. They make determinations based pretty much on their assessment. And a lot of the times there are, for example, assessment that says that a street is like very severe, but then there's no funding for it. So I understand that there are also that need to be repaved, and if there are like maintenance issues, I can probably to the department, but because of funding, I know right now the city doesn't have money to repave a lot of streets. I'm just explaining information. I really don't understand your frustration.
I just spent a lot of money.
Because I've spoken to the department about it, I've spoken to our policy team. The one thing I just keep hearing is that we don't have. So, but we do.
Sure.
We make maintenance, for alleys or streets. Like for example, if there are like potholes on the street, again, I elevate to the department and they tell me whether they're able to do any maintenance or not. I have gotten a lot of like inquiries about how in Normal Heights, especially with the recent rains and the flood that we've had. And they can do grading for alleys just depending on resources and availability. But again, that's when you contact me and I let the partner know. And they usually grade about 4 to 5 alleys per month, but the alley has to be completely done so we can see that. But yeah, I understand the frustration.
They're not alleys, these are well-traveled streets, streets that handle more traffic than streets in Kensington, you know, always heavily. West Mountain View.
Yeah. And I've gotten so many things.
I'm sure you know.
No, I understand. So I really do know. I'm a messenger. Unfortunately, I don't have,
I just wanted to basically.
no.
Okay. Greg, did you have a question or a comment?
Can you explain a little better the cycle? Okay, so it's not prioritized, there's gonna be no more, but who's determining the priority of which ones are going to be repaid once the funding cycle resets? Here, is there like, do they maintain it or they do the whole thing over again? Like,
So that would be the transportation department, and again, they have like recently released the regional management plan.
Okay.
And I can send it over to the email, but that has a lot more extensive information on the provider.
I think that'd be helpful.
Yeah, for sure, because I know again, like both architects, they do get a lot from the community. And so I will send that resource call over to you.
Yes.
And so you can distribute it to everyone, because I just don't want to also.
Yeah, no, I understand, yeah, that's curious, so.
And for my next up, yes.
The heart on West Mountain View. We were told, I lived on North Mountain View, but on my alley in the back, south of West Mountain View. We were told in 2017, that's 7 years ago, that West Mountain View is scheduled to be repaired. 7 years ago. It was scheduled.
I can look it up.
I think Park Warrior is still Park Council.
Okay, I'll look into that for you.
Yeah.
Sarah, you have a tough job, and it's really, we all know it's not your fault, and this has been going on really for decades. It's not even a new problem, and they've had lots of repaving plans and reprioritizations and moving around the sector. But it's just the city is really, I hate to say it, it's been mismanaged for a while, as far as delivering services. Your help, by the way, getting our street lights was really helped. Because they were focusing on D9 routes to get ahead and get the more lights. So it does help what you do. It can only do so much. And we understand that. Don't have any bad feelings.
Thank you, Scott.
Would you ask the transportation department what the cost is for paving? So we can get an idea
Yeah.
if it's $1 million a mile or whatever it is.
Yeah, and then we also have a fact sheet that our policy team put together in our office about repaving. And so I can also distribute that. I can send you an email. You can send that to
Okay. Great. Thank you.
And the city website does have all repaving information and then lists of which streets are being repaved and you put your street in and theoretically tells you when it's going to be done, or if it's on the list. And if it's not on the list, share the options.
That's a good thing, thank you.
Yeah.
And then my next update, so as you all know, that budget season has begun, and so right now the city is facing a $137 million deficit in the coming years. But we want it to be 88, so we did have two District 9 forums coming up. The first one is going to be this Saturday, May 11th at 11 a.m. at Park de la Cruz, and that will be for a Spanish speaker. The second forum is Thursday, May 16th at 6 p.m. and that will be virtual and will be conducted in English. But we are taking requests for communication. Any questions? Hopefully, I look forward to seeing you all there. And then, as you know, we are hiring a new chief of police to take over Chief David Missy, who's retiring. And so right now they are in the interview process, but some is ongoing. And that. Any other questions?
That was plenty. Thank you.
Thanks. Just give one quick statement about the budget and then I'll try
Yes.
to send this something soon. All of the budget deficit, the shortcomings, all of the growth that we're experiencing, the 7-story buildings where there used to be 3-story or 4-story, all of the small units that are under 500 square footage, that one is not possible, but maybe around 600 square feet and smaller, maybe it's 700 and smaller, and the developer doesn't have to pay any developer impact fees, sewers, parks, streets, all of that. That's our deficit right here. Something happened over the years in the development department in our city where we're letting the building just go wild and we just put things in. And we're paying for it now. So, our money.
Yes.
The development going on, the city has the supposed to build 28,000 housing units, right? The record, we looked at this in the times. Original housing units said we were to build 28,000 housing units by I think 20 times. We were well behind that place already, but the tables where we don't do that. Developers, we build that defect, whatever we want to build. There's a reason for all the development. And the reason for dropping and reducing, getting rid of the impact is make it more affordable.
I know.
We have to do relative to the board here.
No, but continue.
Like number one.
So that's why we didn't have this development, right? And so for you and me, we've been home for a while, it's fine, right? It's gone up in value before time, but we're just growing people's lives. People are losing their consent. People are not allowed to. Please, allow more housing. Please, you meant to make that housing more affordable.
Right, pretty process of development.
Go ahead and give me a call. Thank you. We're gonna, I think we're kind of done with the questions for you.
Yes.
And so,
I will put my business card on the table. So again, if you want, you can back to your talk about anything.
okay. And if you wouldn't be so kind, would you be willing to do a presentation on housing options and what we should be looking, what would be a forward-looking vision for this community?
I object. I object to him doing anything. He goes to a half dozen planning groups and tries to interject his opinion everywhere. And it's a broken record, and you're not a member of our community, dude. And you're rude, and in the past, you've been very offensive. Okay, so that, you get what you
Okay.
read.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you. In terms of public comment, you're always welcome. I will. I'm not. Pardon me, no crosstalk, please, no crosstalk. Point of order, point of order. Come on, you got it. Order. Order, please. Order. Order. We're, please, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
We're, we'll try to keep this civil. I'll discuss with the board about, the possibility of, presentations from outside and from people who are not residents, much the way we have presentations from our architects, but I will gather the opinion of the general board and go with that. So thank you for your time. Next up, we are still working through, government representatives. So, mayor's office is next. Do we have representation? County supervisor for Monica Montgomery Stepp or representative. State Senator Atkins. Is Tony Duran on the line? Okay. Next up is, let's see, Christopher Ward's office, Christopher Griss. And then I do see representation for Sarah Jacobs. Kate, thank you for your patience.
Hi, no problem. Thanks for having me. I'm Kate Needham-Cano. I'm here for Michaela Castagnola. I'm our military and veterans liaison. A few quick updates for the Congresswoman. House is back in session this week. So votes are going in on various bills. The Congresswoman will be supporting the Child Care Stabilization Act. She did praise the House Armed Service Committee's Military Quality of Life Panel report of recommendations, particularly improving service members' pay, child care access, housing, healthcare, and spousal support. She also urged Congress to take action and pass her Drug Shortage Prevention Act, which is preventing and minimizing drug shortages across the country, particularly access for child's drugs such as Tylenol and Motrin, which is a really good thing. And then this week, you may have seen in the news that she sat on the panel for the San Diego Regional Chamber of Congress luncheon with the rest of the San Diego congressional delegation and answered lots of pressing questions that they and the panel, as well as the audience, had for her and the rest of the delegation. And other than that, our office is always here to help you all with federal issues. We're by appointment only. And you can always find us on sarahjacobs.house.gov or call our office at 619-280-5353. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. It is really hard for me to hear you all, but you can type them in the chat if I can't hear you. I'm happy to answer.
Thank you. That number again is 619-280-5853.
5353.
5353. Thank you. I shall continue. Are we missing anything out of the agenda up to this point? We're good? Okay, then, chair report for ad hoc subcommittee.
Oh, she's asking, anybody have questions?
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah, is there any questions for Sarah Jacobs' office? Okay, thank you, Kate. Ad hoc subcommittee to the county grand jury regarding SD planning department, and DSD. This is a document that has 4 parts, which will be submitted as 4 requests to the San Diego County Grand Jury to open investigations into the methods and procedures of DSD and planning departments in terms of overstepping their the purview of their jobs. In some cases, we have instances of DSD legislating rather than administering municipal code, because sometimes municipal code can be vague, and if there has to be a judgment call, those judgment calls should be going to city council or whoever had made that law to clarify it, or a judge. So that's just one example. So all of this material is available online. If you go to normalheightscpg.org/grand jury, it's all the documents are available there. So I'll leave that for you to peruse on your own. Yes.
When is the, when will it be submitted?
It will go to a vote at the CPC, their next meeting at the end of May. And then if approved, it would be submitted to the grand jury in June. So just this is a fairly normal process. The grand jury does have a website. Any citizen can submit a complaint to a grand jury and they can decide whether to take it up or not. Again, the 4 submissions that we're putting in, they could decide to take it up or not, just the same as the Supreme Court would decide to maybe pass on something. But it is a way for citizens path for redress of grievances with their elected officials and government. So we're just being our citizen selves. Next up is community group updates when present. Adams Avenue Business Association.
Thank you, Paul. Scott Kessler, Adams Avenue Business Association. I just wanted to thank the Streets Division publicly for coming and repairing 15 of our acorn lights on Adams Avenue and Security Health and getting that done. We had 21 lights out before the pre-fair. They came and repaired those. And I think we're very lucky that they somehow ended up in District 9 prioritized Adams Avenue. So we had a string of 3 blocks on one side that are out. Just want to make people aware that there's about 120 decorative acorn lights on Adams, and the Business Association wrote grants through the 1990s to plant all but 24. 24 were original, the rest are fake antique. And the property owners paid the lighting charge on that. So there's an annual fee for the additional lighting, which benefits the community as a whole, but the Business Association makes it known to the city always that they're paying for this additional lighting and you can't get the lights repaired. And this by the lights not being repaired or a year wait has been going on even before Todd was there. It started with Boston. So it's something that has not gotten addressed, and it's too bad, but we really hope the city gets more electric people in the shop or contracts out to building providers who are coming and so on. But anyway, thank you very much for that, Sarah. We just completed a very successful Adams Avenue Unplugged. I saw some of you there. Business Association just replaced 33 diseased pear trees in Kensington. 2 blocks of pear trees were replaced with 3 different new varieties. 2 different kinds of magnolias and a yellow flowering, beautiful yellow flowering tree. Again, this is the product of our late district where property owners respect for those improvements. There's another 2 blocks of disease trees. We didn't have enough money to do this year, but we will get to in the next 2 years. The Business Association, by the way, stretches to 3 planters. So we run through Kensington, Normal Heights, and the University of I wanted to point out that on May 18th, we are doing a new program here in Adams Avenue. It's called Alleys in Action. The Business Association's been working with, UC San Diego, Department of Urban Studies since 2017, proposing better, use of our alleyway, and been working with Professor Sue Pearson, who was the former planning chair of the city planning commission. And this, we're inviting everyone, in the community to come out. We've chosen an alley. It is right directly behind, this property, so the alley is right between Hawley Boulevard and Mansfield, behind the church and behind Global Vision. So it's a gateway to the recreation area, Adams Park. It has, institutional uses along it, a church and a school. There are 2 fifth grade classes that are part of this presentation, both the 5th grade at Adams Elementary and the 5th grade at Global Vision has been working with UCSD grad students on this for about a year. And this is an opportunity for the community to come in and say, hey, this is what we envision in an alley, a better designed alley where we get rid of the garbage cans, repave it, more human use. There's lots of ideas and lots of alleys that we've redone around the world. San Diego is kind of late in the game. But it's a great opportunity. We encourage people to come to that. May 18th is just from 1 to 4 o'clock. It's just 3 hours. Taste of Adams is coming up on June 30th from 11 to 3 p.m. The Business Association held our annual board retreat this morning. We do it once a year to go over our priorities. The next AADA quarterly mixer is May 21st. From 5 to 7 p.m. at Vika, and we're inviting members of the planning group to come to that if you'd like, and mix with members of the Business Association. And Street Fair is coming up on September 21st through 22nd. And the last thing I want to report on is that we just had our the Adams Avenue bid and that not only runs 2 miles along Adams Avenue, but it's also runs 2 blocks down 30th Street. And we just had our second business close as a result of the installation of the bike lane on 30th Street. This is a woman-owned business who complained about the bike lane interfering with her business after it was first installed. In a Union Tribune article, she was then met with a bunch of negative reviews, and bike advocates came into her place, and half of her staff was both armed and threatening. That's one thing that's dealt with, but mainly what she dealt with is the inability of the city to provide for amenities that the commercial properties were used to and are gone once the bike lanes run it. So imagine if you can't get your delivery, or your delivery drivers are getting tickets, or your customers can't park. So there are a lot of businesses on 30th Street that are suffering due to the bike lanes. The highest grossing business we have in the first block is still down about 30%. It's mainly because of parking and delivery. So we hope that in the future, when more bike lanes come in, the city takes better care to take care of the needs of also the commercial property owners that are enjoying those streets, because it is become a real problem. And that concludes our report.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What business on 30th?
I can't mention her name because she asked me not to, because again, she's subject to being harassment, and I don't want to further that, but,
Can you advise like what type of business it was?
and I would give her away if I.
No doxing. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
people
Paul.
can walk out and see the.
Talk about how successful the aware that that's happening here. I will give my advocates, I was aware that you didn't think about that.
And review.
What I think is that when I go to these meetings, I only hear the view from business owners, and yes, and these guys are other business owners are doing great, it's not good. So just trying to get rid of the balance, and it's just not a one better.
Okay, buddy.
Finishing up right now.
Good.
The thing is that what we're not talking about is the increased safety of people who live in these communities who not just about people who live in our failing or into the proceeding, people are getting more.
Nick of time. All right. Let's go on to El Cajon Boulevard Business Improvement Association, Gary Weber.
Yes, sir. I'd be happy to tell you a little bit about where that plaque came that said Normal Heights, Normal Heights, Normal Heights, Normal Heights. That was some leftover amenity money from one of the many things that have gone on that freeway. You talk about mobility. We spent 30 years with Caltrans in the city and the state Department of Transportation, making that not be another 805 scar through mid-city. And it's probably the only place you can catch what looks like a subway station in the county. There's still a lot to go on. You know, those wide bridges were built and were labeled the Ponte Vecchio Bridge when they were built. And they will both take 2 stories of residential housing. They were designed and built to have residential housing on the bridge decks, tying the 2 sides together so you didn't even know there was a freeway underneath unless you wanted to get on it. So I would encourage anyone here, when you start looking at the planning future, to look at that area. There's a lot more that needs to be done, like connecting the transit line into the green line at the bottom of the hill. You can't get anywhere now quickly without that transfer point. Some of these things have been discussed forever, but it takes a swarm of community helpers to get things done, and there will be a lot get done. Ironically, that bridge stanchion that says Normal Heights now was about to say Cherokee Park, because if you look in the old community plan, Normal Heights was divided into Cherokee Park, south of Adams Park, sub-neighborhoods like City Heights and some other areas have done. And we found that at the last minute, put a halt to that and got Normal Heights on there. And I want to tell you that there is going to be a future of this development, which is occurring on the transit corridors, hitting Normal Heights. And you would be wise to think ahead about what that's going to look like and what you want, not only what kind of structures you want, but what kind of uses you want, and put that as a high priority, because the government is willing to work with you if you're not outrageous in your demands, if you give away more time than you have to work on these projects tirelessly and never give up. It's amazing what you can accomplish. So I encourage you to look at your southern border as the housing opportunity of the future.
Excellent, thank you.
For the Normal Heights Community Association, just reporting in that there's going to be a mixer next Thursday, May 19th, versus 16th, 16th, 6 o'clock at the old sod. Those who know Normal Heights Community Association, mixer is another fun way to get to meet neighbors, and we usually start with a fun game. So everyone, every resident or business owner, or even friend of Normal Heights, is encouraged to come. And then we'll have some more events to be announced over the summer.
Okay. Next up is Adams Community Recreation Advisory Group. Okay. Okay, so if you have that time, please attend. I think it, for me, conflicts with CPC. For Normal Heights for Smart Growth, I do a quick share here.
Can I ask a question about the president?
Yes.
Okay, when my husband and I drive by, I know he's during the day, only one.
And then we'll put it on the road. Since real estate. Then put it on-
Oh.
Membership. Or the working part. They go on and they're on all day, and they go off like.
So what we have been doing too.
So time. Okay.
I report it. And work it up and then.
Okay, Normal Heights for Smart Growth is currently running a spring cleaning, which encouraging people to enter get it done reports. This will involves a cash prize and some gift certificates for the person who submits the most get it done requests in the month of May. So
I do 10 a week, is that fair?
all you'd have to do is just log your GIDs into the follow the QR code or the link.
$100, something. I'm totally confused by this. I thought Get It Done was overwhelmed. Now they're incentivizing to.
Normal Heights for Smart Growth is incentivizing to get it done.
Got it, okay.
Now, the reason for that is that when we contact Sarah for escalation on an issue, it really helps to give her a GID number. So if we get a lot of GIDs in, then we can start saying, oh, look, we've got 100 requests for this one alley. That's going to really prioritize it.
Got it.
So that's the reason for running the incentives, because right now, people like to, talk about it, but let's do something on the app.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next up is standing committees, joint mid-city community plan updates.
Yes, so we had our kickoff meeting, now there's only one mid-city community plan update group. It is city sanctioned. There were two, it was a little confusing for a minute, but we're back to one. It's representatives from all of the neighborhoods within mid-city. We're undergoing a community plan update. It's just getting underway. It'll be a multi-year process. The goal is to have it approved in February of 2026. So we're really still kind of in the early opening phases. We had our very first meeting just to kind of establish timelines, understand what a community plan update is, what it's going to entail. There are a couple of community workshops if you're interested in learning more. There's an in-person one Saturday, May 18th from 11 to 3 at Hoover High School. And there's also a virtual workshop on Wednesday, May 22nd at 6 p.m. And the link for that, there's like a whole web page for the Mid-City Community Plan update. So you'll be able to find the Zoom link there, or I can send it over to Paul to circulate, or I can give it to you. So if you're interested in those, but really, I think our first meeting, this group will be meeting quarterly-ish. So our first one is really just kind of figuring things out. I'll bring updates as we move through the process, and the city project manager said he would attend our community planning group meetings probably about 3 times a year to provide city updates as well.
Okay, Saturday, May 11th at what time?
Saturday, May 18th from 11 to 3 at Hoover High School. And then the virtual option is Wednesday, May 22nd. Yeah. Yes, oh, there are gonna be a ton of public meetings. This is still like very early, just kind of getting, there will be tons of opportunity. I think probably every time I come present at the meeting, I'll have a new community update. They're doing these pop-ups. There'll be at community events. I understand they've been at kind of a lot of the events like in your New Year, popping up at parks, things like that. So there will be plenty of opportunities for public input. This is just one of them.
Excellent, thank you. Historical property review.
Yeah, I only saw one, but I didn't have a chance to actually go look at it, but I saw it on the Google map. I said the city a note that if it does meet their criteria for original fabric integrity of the site, to go along and use those as the guidelines for whatever permits are being presented for that particular site. Sometimes it's something minor like extra entrance to the hall space or something else. Anyway, it was on. My glass was 4625 32nd Street. It's a Craftsman cottage. It appeared to be pretty intact, but again, the planning department really wants those things to have as much original fabric inside as possible before giving it the protection that our city provides.
Okay.
Yes.
Third question?
Could I?
Yeah.
I wanted to, just sort of mention, I didn't put it on the Normal Heights website, but there's a historical, did you do that, Dan? There's like an article from the San Diego Historical Society that was written by Suzanne.
Yeah.
Can't pronounce her last name, but it's the history of Normal Heights. Little art.
That's all I recently did.
Did I forward that to you? I know I've,
It's on the website and I would just really recommend it.
yeah, I know.
People to read it. It's like there's some wonderful photographs and like Normal Heights from nothing here.
Just to the footnote, Suzanne Letterbear graced this meeting space for years, if not decades. She was true great historian of this neighborhood.
Great.
Yeah. And,
It's a really nice article.
yeah, no, you can learn a lot about this neighborhood. I mean,
Okay. Next up is a nominating committee, which we've now come through our election cycle, so I think that's part of our new plans and goals. Thanks. Utility undergrounding and street lighting mad.
Yes, so for anyone who has not been here. Sorry for anyone who's here. I think we're good, okay, sorry. Block 3DD, it's the northeastern portion, north of Adams Avenue. That is the first place we are fully funded, fully designed, ready to construct SPG&E undergrounding. Due to start next year. Kind of in tandem with that, we've been kind of discussing the potential formation of a maintenance assessment district or MAD to fund decorative acorn lights. So these would be kind of something to enhance the community, similar to what Scott was talking about on Adams. And today, Francis and I had a great meeting with the Parks and Rec Department to kind of kick off that process to potentially form the MAD. Got a great rundown of kind of the process and what needs to happen, but essentially we'll be surveying all the property owners in that boundary. And so if you live in that area, expect to hear from us soon and you can vote on if you do want decorative acorn lights or not. And then once we get the results of that survey, then we'll kind of go from there on if we move forward or not. But just got a big download of info today, so moving things forward, so that's exciting.
Is the city gonna mail out a survey?
We are in charge of the
They're
survey.
doing it, but they're gonna help us with the information.
Yeah, they'll provide us with the addresses, and then it's up to us to deliver.
And we talked about doing maybe some, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's mailing and there's online way. Surveying people.
Okay. Community garden, this group, had submitted to, Caltrans for a grant for matching funds to, do a community garden on Cherokee, where it intersects with, West Mountain View. Unfortunately, the parkway that sits between the two sidewalks there is owned by the parcel owner. So parcels extend to the center of the street. So the city would need a permission to vacate the right of way in order to allow a community garden there. And the first step in that is asking the property owner for permission. So we were refused by the property owner. So that's where that stands in terms of Cherokee Avenue. But the matching funds that were promised or pledged by the Selby team still exist. And so our efforts are now converging with those of the Parks and Rec group, looking back at Ward Canyon in the space that was originally planned for the community garden. What this means is that we now have a good amount of community support for getting the community garden in. We have city support. I think we're getting towards a tipping point of actually having a garden put in. So, and I know Sarah has been working on this as well. A lot of emails flying back and forth and some meetings that'll be scheduled for after the budget season's done. We can skip tree replacements. That'll be part of the new plan. Anything for traffic?
I was just gonna give an update on, I checked on the status of our ramp requests for East Mountain View, just south of Adams, and at the intersection of Mansfield and Arthur. And they are in process. So eventually they'll get done. That's all that's really updated.
But I didn't hear, what is it?
Oh, ramps. Start, ramps onto the start.
We're missing a few, and there are people who use mobility devices. In fact, I just talked to a guy over on Fenton. Was just hanging out, and apparently there's he also uses those same ramps. So anyway, thank you. I guess at this point, I'll go into unofficial business before we adjourn. I want to thank Parker for being our timekeeper. Thank you, Parker. Yes. And next time we'll maybe have Parker act as Sergeant at Arms.
Yes.
Okay. Motion to vacate. No, motion to dismiss. All right, let's go. Thank you. Bring us out. Thank you. Thank you, everyone online.